Greetings, Alafia Ni. It is the Petabi Ilosha Ola Omi Akalatunde, and this is Got to Be Oshun Television. Coming to you today with two videos. The second one will be an update on the Black Witchcraft class and what's going on with that. But for this first one, I actually wanted to discuss and give a little information about breastfeeding. I watched a documentary on Netflix, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and it was called Breastmilk. It was produced by Ricky Lake, who produced, what is that other documentary? The Business of Being Born. And it was very informative, and it covered the lives of several women who intended to breastfeed before their child was born, but then for whatever reason, well, for a reason that we will discuss, felt that they were unable to do that up until the child was weaned. And so after watching the documentary, I had several strong reactions to it and to some of the points being presented in it. And I just wanted to come and discuss some of those reactions and thoughts and just the facts with mothers and fathers, just parents who may be considering breastfeeding, just to give an idea and an understanding of what this means and how to do it and how to be quote unquote successful. Okay, I think that the first thing that you have to know as a fact, as far as breastfeeding is concerned, is that breastfeeding is not from the perspective of life. Breastfeeding is not a choice. Breast milk is the only food that exists for human babies. And that's the truth. Anything else that you're giving a human baby before they are able to digest solid foods is not food for a human baby. So let me give you an example. Gasoline is what automobiles are made to run on. Now, in extreme situations, automobiles can run on other things. For example, an automobile can run on coconut oil. That's been found. There are certain types of fuels that can be made, from corn, things that can be done with water, all of those types of things. But most car engines are created to run on gasoline, and that is just the truth. Now, if you are a mechanic and you come in, a car is brought into you that has been running on coconut oil, you would not be surprised if there was damage done to the engine, or if the engine had begun to do things that the engine was not created to do. Okay, let's take this analogy back. Human babies are not meant, the body was not created to eat anything but breast milk. It's not a choice. If you are not giving the baby breast milk, then you have to be aware that you're giving the child something that its body is not created to consume. And that is just truth. That's just fact. I'm not saying that from the perspective of a judgment. I'm not making a judgment on anyone who bottle feeds. I have 6 children. I have bottle fed. So it is not from a perspective of judgment. But if you are seeking to understand breastfeeding and want to place yourself in the position to be able to do it and to be able to maintain it for as long as the child needs for optimum health for mother and baby, and optimum health for the family, then you have to understand the true nature of breastfeeding. It's not a choice. It is the only food for human beings. I'll give you another example. The human kidneys and the human bladder are made to cleanse the blood and to cleanse the body, and then they excrete urine. In extreme situations, you can wear a bag on the side of your body that will capture that urine for you. But that is not what is optimum for your body. It's the same thing with breast milk. It is the only food for human babies. It is not a choice. It is the only food. And that is, you have to be in that realistic sort of mindset in order to breastfeed. Okay, so with that being said, because since it is the only food for human babies, let's move on to the next point. Most ancient cultures breastfed until the child was 5 years old. They breastfed up until that point. Not exclusively, but they did breastfeed up until that point, and some beyond, because it is the only food for small children. So if you wanted your child to be well nourished, if you wanted your child to be optimally healthy and optimally intelligent, optimally bonded to the mother and to the family, and having an optimum understanding of what it meant to be a member of his or her community, then you would breastfeed for as long as you possibly could and for as long as the child wanted it. Because breastfeeding provides all of those things. You can go to any study now and see that breastfed babies are more intelligent, breastfed babies are happier, breastfed babies are more well-behaved. Any regular study will tell you that at this point in time, which is why it is becoming, quote-unquote, more popular. All of these words are strange. More popular, choice, all those things are strange because it's the only food. There is no other food for human babies. When you give a human baby another food, you are putting coconut oil into an engine that is created to take gasoline. So those are strange terms, actually, but I know that these are the terms we use to speak of this in these so-called modern times. Okay, being that your body as a woman, as a mother, is created with the expectation of nursing someone and fully nourishing them, possibly for the first 5 years of their life, there is not any way that you cannot produce enough milk. It is not humanly possible not to produce enough milk. It's not possible. That is an impossibility. Okay? I have drank teas, I have eaten food, I have upped my liquid intake, I have done things to increase my milk supply. So once again, I'm not saying this from a perspective of judgment. I'm only giving you facts. Because if you want to do this, you need to do it from a perspective of facts. The medical establishment in the United States is not going to give you facts. They're going to give you information that is in their best interest. That information in general is not true. Not to mention that their perspective is skewed because they do not live life in reality. They're living in an illusion. And they have a misunderstanding of the human body. So that is the next point. Remember that your body was created to do everything that it's supposed to do. And the human body has not broken. It has not become anything less or anything different than the bodies that our ancestors had. So if our ancestral mothers were able, and obviously they were because we are all here, if they were able to sustain life for 5 years off of breast milk, eating what we now in this day and time would call a subsistence diet, then we know that us, with the overeating that all of us are doing, will have no trouble creating enough breast milk for a child or 2 or 3 or however many we've given birth to at one time, and to sustain that child. It's not, your body is not going to do anything different. It's the same as with birth. Somebody is going to come in with a scare tactic and make you believe that suddenly the pelvises of women can no longer open up and let the head of a baby out. That is nonsense. That is foolishness. That is somebody telling you something that does not make sense. It does not even, it's not logical. If you think the statement all the way through, is that logical? What has happened to women's breasts over the past? Because women stopped my grandmother breastfed both my grandmothers breastfed all of their children. My mother was born in 1934. I was born in 1969. My mother did not breastfeed any of her children. She had her first child when she was 18. So let's say from 1940. That's the beginning of women not breastfeeding on a mass scale. That's the beginning of formula and things of that nature. So what happened to women's breasts in 1940? Just all of a sudden, what happened that made women unable to breastfeed? Did something happen to women's bodies? No. The formula company is what happened. And it's Nestle. Nestle is the name of the company. Similac and all those, they fall under Nestle. That's what happened. Nothing happened to your body. Nothing is wrong with your body. If you have not had some sort of medical procedure done on your breasts that has damaged your milk ducts, then you can produce enough milk, generally, not only just for that baby, but for a couple of more babies. That's because life is going to factor in that there may be a baby in the village whose mother is sick. There may be a baby in the village whose mother died in childbirth. There may be a baby in the village whose mother has to do things during the day, just like you sometimes have to do things during the day. So the other women in your village will create enough milk for your baby too. That's what it means to be connected. That is what life is. That's what real life is. So you create enough milk. You do. And that's just the end of that. Now, let's get down to brass tacks and truth and honesty. Babies do not sleep on the schedule that adults sleep on. Now, the truth of the matter is that most of us as adults are sleeping on a schedule that is unnatural for us. It is not natural to sleep for 8 hours at a time. That's unnatural. You're supposed to get small spurts of sleep throughout the day. So basically, babies probably are on the schedule that we should all be on. But be that as it may, babies are not going to sleep for several hours at a time. That is, I have 6 children. That is unrealistic and that is foolishness. And if anybody is making you feel that the reason that your baby is waking up so often is because you're not making enough milk, you can refer them to this video. I have 6 children. I've been having children since 1991. My oldest child will be 25 this year. I have a grandchild. Babies, I do not care what you are feeding them because I have tried it all. I have put cereal in the bottle. I have made the formula thicker. Babies do not sleep for hours and hours at a time unless they are ill. It is not going to happen. Do not allow anyone to make you believe that because your baby is waking up every 30 minutes that you are not making enough milk. Your baby is waking up every 30 minutes because they want to bond with you. They want to spend time with you. And yes, they do want to nurse. And yes, they may be hungry. They're on a liquid diet. All babies are. But putting cereal in a bottle and giving them formula is not the answer. That's not going to make them sleep any longer. I've tried it, and I'm here to tell you that that is not the answer. Babies do not sleep on the same schedule as adults. And as I'll say again, we probably shouldn't be on that schedule. So put that thought and that idea out of your mind that my child is waking up because he or she is not getting enough milk. That is ridiculous nonsense. This is a being that came from the spirit plane. You pulled this being from the spirit plane into your body. And so for the totality of this particular physical existence, all that this being knows is being close to you and hearing your heartbeat and feeling the warmth of your body and listening and participating in all of your daily activities. That's all that that being knows. So that is the expectation that a baby comes into the world with, is to be able to continue to do that with you because you are the individual that opened the gateway and allowed it to come through. And what it has known since it has been physical has been you, your presence and your closeness and your body. And that is what it is here expecting again. That's completely normal. That's completely natural. Not only that, once you pulled that spirit from the spiritual plane into your physical body, that set off triggers in your body that also cause you to have an expectation of this being close to you. And just as it will be damaging if your baby does not get to be close to you often enough, damaging to the baby, it is just as damaging to the mother to not be close to the baby often enough. Life is always right. When the ancestral mothers put the laws of the universe in motion, they did not make any mistakes. The laws of the universe roll, and there's nothing that we can do about them. So once you have conceived, this being has an expectation of being close to you. It has a biological need to be close to you, an emotional need to be close to you, a spiritual need, and a psychological need to be close to you. Not only that, you have a biological need to be close to this being, a spiritual need, an emotional need, and a psychological need. If this need for closeness is not met, both parties will suffer. And some form of psychosis will develop in both the baby and the mother. And my understanding and my view of what we see and experience in life as people with, issues, or people who have things wrong, or people who have to continue going through the same traumatic cycles over and over again, myself included, is because we missed out on that closeness. There is a psychosis going on that we're going to have to continue to work through until we figured out how to achieve whatever that was we needed at 2 days, 3 days, 1 week old. Babies are waking up to be with you, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong, and you have the power to keep the baby happy and satisfied and consoled. It is your presence. It is your love. It is your openness to having the child there with you, and your happiness to have the child there with you. And yes, it is the breast milk. You have the power. The ancestral mothers have created you in their image, in a feminine form that can give any person that you bring forth everything that they need to achieve optimum selfhood as a small baby. And that's an amazing power. And that's the reason for gynecologists and obstetricians and cesarean sections and formulas, because they want to disconnect you from that power. But I am here to tell you that you are always going to create enough milk for that baby that you brought into the world. It's not possible not to. This is how breasts